Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to do a complete beginner's guide to Hobo, Tough Life, shall we? This is a game that I've been playing non-stop since I booted it up, and it is a brutally difficult game at first. It's kind of one of the harder survival games that I've played until you get things set, understand what you should do, understand how some of the mini games work. Then everything starts to click and you can really make progress and thrive and enjoy this game. And what I want to do with this guide is start up a brand new game so you can play along with me or just watch to see if this is the kind of game that you might want to play. And I'm going to explain everything to you from the ground up. The UI, the controls, some basic tips and tricks, and how to survive in the beginning of the game, how to find quests and locations so that you can then pick up and play the game how you want, using whatever kind of focus for your character that seems appropriate for you. I'm not going to min-max. I'm not going to show you the fastest and easiest way to beat the game. Instead, I'm just going to explain the basics, things that I learned while streaming the game and from people in the YouTube comments and through trial and error myself, so that the point of entry is a little bit easier for you, because I was almost kind of thwarted by this game's difficulty up front, and now that I get it, I'm loving it. So let's start a new game. We're just going to say character, and when you begin, you can only use this hobo on the left. When you go to create a game, you will then host a game, and you will pick your own world, and you can have multiple save files. And I'm going to make a new world called Incompetent Tutorial. It's going to be normal, and we're not going to allow anyone to join with us. We're just going to be playing single player. And like I said, we'll use this hobo here. This is the common everyday hobo. As you get further into the game, you can unlock the rest of the hobos, and this is a nice starter because they have no advantages but no disadvantages. Alright, so immediately it says you should first find out, why does your head hurt? So I'm going to push start and pause the game and bring up the inventory interface here and just kind of talk to you a little bit about what's going on. When you wake up in this game, you kind of have amnesia, you're not sure what's going on. So I'm going to be using a controller to navigate the game, but of course you can use mouse and keyboard. I'm doing this because you can play this game on Steam Deck, and actually it runs really well on there too. And I find the controller to be great for some of the mini games, but for, of course, navigating the menus, the mouse and keyboard is preferable, and you can just kind of switch between them if you like, but I'll just use a controller. When you are walking around using the left stick, you see how I'm getting close to this car and it says open. I can open up this car and it shows you what is inside the storage here. There's a returnable bottle and a broken keyboard. Now I'm just going to push X to take all of these things. And sometimes when you find an item, you see how it says you've thought up a new blueprint. You devise something that you could do with that item to perhaps build in your base or a piece of equipment, etc. This right here is a fireplace, and you could put things in here to burn if you get cold. And I'm going to kind of get out of this pit that we've been thrown into. And the first thing we want to do is run over here to this blue tarped headquarters and talk to our buddy.
Choose.
This is Masner, and this guy, he's hard to see, he's kind of in the shadows, is your de facto guide in the beginning of the game. He gives you a series of different quests to kind of introduce you to game elements and overall make your game so much easier. If you're an expert, you could skip dealing with him, but as a beginner, this is a must, I feel, for learning the game. Now also, something else I want to say as we're kind of talking to this guy, it appears that time has paused, and you can see the time of day. In the upper right, there is a wheel that points to when it's going to be day and when it's going to be dark, based on, a rough estimate. We don't really have a watch as a hobo. In the upper left, you're going to see some different gauges. The most important ones, let's talk about right now. There is a white to orange gauge in the upper left, which is temperature. You want that needle to be at the top of that to indicate that you are warm. Now, I'm playing in Fahrenheit temperature, and it's 60 degrees, which is pretty reasonable. It's kind of like a spring day, and it's not too cold, so we're okay. But if it starts to dip lower, we're going to get very, very cold. If it's raining and wet, things are going to get worse. In fact, as we try to survive as hobos, oh, and it looks like I lied. The time is still moving. Some of the main things that we have to fight are temperature, weather, food, things like this. And temperature is one you always want to pay attention to. Below the temperature, as we move counterclockwise, you'll see I have 2 white bars out of many. That's my willpower, which you can use for certain events and mini games. The green radial beneath my character's portrait is my stamina, which you expend by running. If you're playing on controller, you actually default sprint, which I like. And then the red portion of the wheel in the bottom right there is your health. We have 20 coins and in 61 degrees like we talked about. Now here we have a kind of a screen for talking to Masner. You can see that when we talk to him it takes 10 units of time. You can see Masner's health is 100 and his trust, how much he knows and trusts us, is 10 out of 100. Generally in this game, the higher you get trust with the NPCs, the more options they have for selling you things, doing you favors, training you for different things. So let's just say, hey there, dude. I'm not a dude. I'm Masner. Masner is my name. Fine, Masner. Have you found anything useful around? Mostly, yeah. Some blankets, planks. I need it for my shelter. Yeah, that's a nice hotel you have. Are you getting ready for the winter? You bet. People say this is going to be a brutal one. If you don't have a shelter, you're as good as dead. Hey man, Masner, do you know how I got here? I don't seem to remember anything. From the way you look, you probably got really drunk somewhere uptown and decided to lie down here in the pit. And you know about any recent parties? Nah, at least not here in the pit. Try ask him Fergrim. He's a rascal, all right. Damn, I don't even remember my name. I'm never going to drink again. That might be for the best. Who knows? Maybe you'll kill yourself next time. Sounds like a plan. So you see our trust went up as we talked to him. Now, the blue options, we certainly want to exhaust these when we can with people, because they can open up quests. What you drinking? Is it good? I ain't going to give you nothing. I make myself first class Lifebringer. Great. How do you make it? Isn't it better to just buy some boxed wine? Screw that. This godly drink is practically free. If you know where to look, that is. If you find some bottles with a few drops of alcohols remaining, bring them to me and I'll show you my art. Okay. So, regarding the Lifebringer, and he says, you got everything? And we don't. I'll look at the quest log in a moment, but I'll show you what we need. You can also say, hey, winter is coming. Yep, you're going to freeze to death if you don't have a shelter. Preach it, brother. Hey, would you mind if I stayed here? Are you mad? Nah, not going to happen. This is my hotel. Go build your own. Do I look like I know how to build a hotel? I don't even know where to begin. Look, go see Drax. He has all sorts of equipment laying around. Maybe he'll give you something. You could start building right over next to me. Nobody from the city gives a crap about that. Nobody gives 2 flying craps about the pit. Hallelujah. Yeah, thanks. Now, another thing you can do is chat with him. It does take time, but you see how he says, here, have a look at this. What is it? Brutal weapon. No one's going to mess with you if you carry something like this around. Don't ask where I got it. Where can I get that? All over the place. If you're lucky, you could find some lying in the trash. The quality stuff's harder to get, though. Oh, I've also heard that there's a new crew that's set up in camp in the pit that has a lot of weapons. Supposedly, they even have a person that makes the weapons for them. Interesting. So now we've gotten a new quest to find the weapon maker. You want to have a look at it? Let's look at it. And it's a cutting board, and we can buy it, you could see, for 60 coins, which we don't have, so we're just going to go back. And you can barter with him, so this is what he's offering to sell, and it's mostly junk equipment, although this mattress is very good for your base early game. But it's expensive, and we'd rather find this stuff ourselves if we can. He also has a Lost and Found. This Lost and Found is empty, but if you ever die in the game, you will lose all of the stuff in your inventory except what you're wearing and your money. And you can buy your belongings back from Masner if you want. When you die, you wake up back at the pit where we just started, and your stats are permanently reduced by 10 each. So dying is not good. I'm going to be very honest with you. You can also bully him if you want, but I don't mess around with this. I'm not tough enough, and I don't want to ruin my relationship with these with people that can help me, so I'm just going to leave. If you die, especially early when you're learning, I don't think it's a big deal. You could just keep playing, but I've had to restart several times because it's just so brutal, and I died, and I didn't know what I was doing, and it's no big deal. But it's up to you if you want to restart. There are items that you can buy in the game that are quite expensive, but they will restore your stats. So there's ways to kind of rebound. Now, I pushed right on the directional pad to open up my quest log, and you could see I have this quest tracked, Why Does My Head Hurt, which is to go talk to that Fergrim guy. But I'd actually prefer to track Bivouac to talk to Drax about furniture. So I'm going to push X on, or A on this, and you could see now on my really crudely drawn map, there's an X. I'm the circle, obviously, with a little red arrow that's pointing where I'm facing, and if I go north to the X, I will find Drax. So you could track your quests here, and it's split up into different categories of like favors for people, general locations if you want to find them, and characters that you've met. And you can always go back to tracking Masner if you forget where he is and you want to get back to him. Now, I'm going really fast talking to you because time is passing in this game, and we want to do a lot of things on our very first day. So let's just walk over here and open up this and just push X to pick up the junk and the returnable bottle. This is something we can sell to a salesman for a couple of coins each bottle. And you want to pick up everything that you find in the beginning of the game. And just go over here. There's some nails and some junk. Take it. These items, the back of this car, some of these boxes, these will actually replenish given enough time. So you can come back and check these spots to get more items. I'm just picking up everything I can. This is all free, and nobody gets mad if you take this stuff early game. But you see some of it, like this, requires a perk to be able to find stuff on the ground like that. So just pass that by and take what we can. Here's some tape and some junk. All of these items we can use for crafting, all sorts of different things. These planks, we can make stuff in our base. We can burn it to keep ourselves warm. We can make clothing. We can repair clothing. We can do all sorts of things, and we'll talk about that as we get to it. Now, if I look at the map again, you can see I'm really, really close to Drax. There's actually a ton of good stuff around here, but you want to be careful as you get closer inside this settlement. Some of these items you can't take. There's some people here, like this guy Mako. You could talk to him and he's like, what do you do here? And he doesn't really want to talk to you, so okay, fine. Some of this stuff you can't take. Oh, we missed this. Super glue, excellent. And you'll notice this right here, it has like a red hand on it. That means if I take this, I'd be stealing it. Stealing it in general can get you in trouble, and it lowers your morale. I actually don't like to do it, but it's certainly a way that you can play the game, so I'll leave that up to you if you'd like to steal from people directly or just from their stuff. And you can go into these different houses and meet NPCs. Most of the time, they don't want to talk to you, but it's worth investigating anyway. So Fester here, we could say, hey, is anybody home? What do you want? You're not going to get anything. Get lost. What smells delicious? What is that? Get out of here. I'm not cooking anything. Well, the smell begs to differ. What smell? You smell. Get away. All right, so we got a little quest like, who is this guy, and why does his house smell so good? All right, and I'm going to go over here, and here's Barf and Donut, and we could talk to Barf. And what could you tell me about Fester? He's a jerk. All right, fine. How's it going? Not now, man. So like I said, everybody is on hard times, you know, and they don't really want to speak, but sometimes it's worth exhausting the dialogue options because they have ideas or they have quests for you. Let's go in here, and we found some old textiles. These are tremendous. And you see it's really, really dark, but one of our first priorities is going to be to buy a flashlight because it never runs out of batteries, and it is super useful for exploring. just walk around this camp and take everything that's not nailed down, which is pretty much everything. This beginning area is just a treasure trove where you can acquire a lot of stuff. And I'm going to come around this way. And there's a box over here. Excellent. I'll talk about what these items do in a moment. I'm just, like I said, moving quickly to show you a few things. So in here is Kushi, and this is the weapons dude. And you say, I heard I could find weapons here. And he's like, you bet. Can I have a look? Where'd you get it all? Could you sell me some? Sure. So this completes the quest armory that we got from Masner, and you can barter with him, and he sells all these different weapons. Weapons are important if you want to fight the thugs that will shake you down and take your money. So there's all over town, when we go exploring, there are thugs that will run up to you and demand your money, or they beat the crap out of you, and they could kill you. It's a nightmare. You have a couple of options when this happens. I believe it's you get your speech high enough, you can kind of tell them a joke. You can give them a nice cigarette, or you can just give them your money. And if you say give them money, you don't actually give them all of your money. You just give them a pretty good chunk of it. So I usually do that if I have to. You can also fight, but without being good and having a good weapon, they have a weapon, so fighting is a bad idea. So don't fight the thugs unless you have something nice and perhaps you've taken some martial arts classes. I'm not going to buy anything, I'm just showing you. And he also, you can get lessons from him on being a weaponsmith to make your own weapons, but it costs 300 coins, or being a weapons master to drain the durability of your weapons, and this is also expensive. But these are good, especially if you want to start fighting. Here's a tip, though. You don't need to fight early game. As long as you have less than 100 coins, if the thug comes up to you, he'll be like, oh man, you're too poor. There's no reason to, take your stuff, and you don't have to do anything. So as long as you keep yourself under 100 coins, then you don't have to worry about them. And that's actually not hard early game. These spots to loot at this camp early are amazing. Ooh, a free life bringer. This is such a good drink. So let's talk about this. We've been looking at a lot of bottles and junk. These are just crafting things, but sometimes you can find items to drink or eat. So this life bringer gives you morale, warmth, energy, restores your willpower, and it also makes you drunk. It's very, very good. We're going to take all of these things. We're actually going to try to learn to craft that from Masner. And let's go over here, and you see this one, this whiskey. If I take this, it actually turns into strained alcohol in my inventory. And this is kind of like we're just storing a little bit of alcohol. If I push start to go to my inventory, you'll see I have a strained alcohol right here. I can drink this. And whenever you're about to consume something, let's just talk about the inventory for a moment. This is our starter inventory. And on the left is our inventory, which you can sort with different tabs, crafting items, consumable items, like bandages, food, drinks, smoke. Here's wearable items, clothing, weapons, the brass knuckles, and then the house means items for our base. Now, right now, what we want to pay attention to is, this is the overall inventory, how much we're carrying, because we don't want to go over our carry limit. Right now we can carry 24 pounds, and we have 9.7 pounds, so we could carry way more. We're fine on that. If, let's just say I go over to the food tab, I wanted to drink this strained alcohol, look over on the right panel of this little book that we have here, our Hobo book, and this will tell you in green what it will improve, and in red the kind of detriment. So it'll help with our morale, it'll help with our warmth, but it will make us drunk and make us feel a bit queasy or nauseous. So you can't just constantly drink bad stuff, trash and things like that, or smoke old cigarettes and things, because it will add up and make you queasy and sick and things, but you can do it sparingly. Also, you don't want to get trashed. Like this life bringer is very good, but it makes you pretty drunk. If you start getting real drunk, beyond like your vision and mobility being impaired, certain NPCs won't deal with you if you're drunk, and you have to kind of sober up first, like the charity, for example. Now, one thing that we want to do here is scratch off our lottery ticket. So you start with a lottery ticket, and you can scratch yours off. Just select it and move this around, and kind of use this guitar pick to see if you struck it rich. I have lost most of the time with these lottery tickets, but sometimes you can actually... Ooh, we won 3 times. I was going to say, sometimes you win. And look, we won 30 coins with this lottery ticket, so that's amazing. That's great. It's a nice little starting bit of cash. So we can go to a store and trade this in for some money. Don't worry if yours fails. They fail most of the time. Every time you respawn, you start with another one, and you could find them in the trash. It's also worth mentioning, there's a couple of guys here, Beefcake and Bodom. These 2 dudes are just generic NPCs, but this is the money. This fire barrel right here is unlimited. It will always be burning. You don't have to add fuel, and if you are freezing, you can just come here. Even if it's raining, you can come stand under this roof, stand right here by this fire, get dry, get warmed up, and spend the night even just standing here. You'll get exhausted and you'll need to sleep someplace, but this is early game. This is a great way to not have to use fuel and just have a free fire barrel. So remember where this is, and you can remember if you look at your map just by tracking Drax, for example. Let's go talk to Drax. He's right here. So Drax, you say, hello friend, we're on the same side, man. Can we trade? That's good to hear. Masner says you have useful materials. Yeah, I collect all sorts. You call it a kink of sorts. You didn't need to say that, but that's fine. Could you spare something for me? I want to build a shelter for the winter. I don't usually sell stuff, but here, take this. It just takes up space. And so he's giving us a free table, and you say thanks. And we got ourselves an improvised table, and he trusts us. And he's also given us a quest. Hey man, there's this guy back in the slum. Is he talking about pork all the time? Yeah, that's him. That's Fester. He used to be a butcher, and he's, well, let's say his attic is a bit haunted. Well, something smelled real nice. Yeah, he's always cooking something. If you want him to like you, bring him something he can cook. Like what? I don't know, maybe some fancy meat. A friend of mine got some at the back entrance of the President's Hotel the other day. So this is a location we can find uptown that throws away some real nice stuff. Okay, thanks. Is that your guard dog? Handsome fellow, where'd you get him? It's not a bad idea to have a friend. So by the way, you can read all of this text on your own. I'm just going fast because time is passing, and I want to get through some things with you. And so he says, ask about dogs at the Gypsy Slum, which is very close, and they can sell you a dog, for example, if you want one. I don't recommend necessarily buying it early game. You might like it. I haven't even bought one yet because I want to make sure, that I need it and that I can feed it. And I walk a dog, which I'll show you later, for money. And you could chat with this guy, and you can see, you can try to steal from him with 100%. I don't really recommend that. And you could say, I don't know if I can keep going like this. And he says of this study, which finds that if you don't smell bad, you have more good luck in life. And he gives you a free item to take care of our odor, which is very cool. You can also request things from people, but right now we don't have enough trust. But they can, do things for you, help you with your morale, boost your confidence, etc. And you can trade with this guy, and he sells some pretty cool furniture for your base. This couch, for example, lets you sleep on it, which is cool, but it's 300, and we probably want to make this for free anyway. But it's good to know that this is here. He can also teach you, about locks, and you need to boost your trust with him a little bit and bring him some rum for him to do that. And you could see how some of these other things that he can help you with require more and more trust, which we can build up. And that's all. There's his dog there, but there's a barrel that you could light, but don't bother with it because there's the free barrel over here. Let's turn around and run up this ramp and go in here. And I know this seems wild.
That's it.
Here's Farron's. What do you do? I'm busy. Just take note of this guy. Talk to him. But even though these dudes are in here, you could take all this stuff. And there's a bunch of alcohol that we need for our quest. And empty bottles. You see more cigarettes, alcohol, all sorts of really nice stuff. Take everything you can here. Some really nasty food. And even some old coffee that you can make a strained drink out of. There's some rando guy right here who has unfortunately not eaten in 2 days. That's terrifying. And, okay. Before it gets too dark, did we loot this car? We did. I'm going to immediately run up this way. For the first day, we're going to skip a lot of things because time is of the essence. And I'm going to have to make this a guide series. This game is so awesome. There's so much going on. But to explain it all, I'm going to make several episodes and get further and further in the game and show you them in great detail. Now, this is the thug right here. So this guy is going to rob us. This is what happens. The thugs usually look just like this dude. He's very noticeable. And you say, what's going on? He's like, oh man, you're all poor. I don't even want to take your stuff. But what I want you to notice is where this guy is. If you're savvy, this thug will appear in this hallway. And if you don't go down this hallway, instead if you go under the bridge this way, you can avoid that guy altogether. The thugs have regular spots where they are, and if you just avoid their hangouts, you can really, really cut down on being mugged anyway. You can check all sorts of things for free money, but I'm going to keep running. Like I said, I have to make this a series just because there's so much to explain, but it's a great game, and I want to explain it all so you can enjoy it. Let's go to the church. Just run straight ahead. You'll see this giant church and come in here. If you talk to Father Buran, you say, Lord be praised, and you say, you're the boss, right? And he's like, I'm no boss. I'm Padre Buran. And you say, hey, can I pray? And he's like, sure, just don't smell too bad. And you're like, okay, no problem. And then ask for a blessing, and he'll give you a blessing which boosts your faith. Having high faith will cause your morale to go up, which is amazing. That's awesome. I'd like it another time. He's like, not so fast. You can get this blessing generally once per day. And you say, but can't I get something else? I'm poor. And he says, even people like you can be beneficial. And he gives you a quest to go spread the word about his church. So do this quest. Accept it and be like, sure. All you have to do is talk to people and convince 5 people to come check out the church. And he gives you a reward. But the other thing you can do is go back and you can ask him 2 things. First of all, what are you looking at? And he's going to talk about how your clothing is all run down and torn apart. And you say, yeah. And he says, I know of Miss Emka, who's a retired seamstress who will, for pretty cheap, repair your clothing. So get this, and you'll mark it in your quest log. So you mark it on the map, and you can go find her, which is awesome. Then ask, do you need anything? And he says, I don't, but Sister Agnes is at the charity. And you say, what? There's a charity? And he says, yeah, just go over here. Then he will mark it on your map so you can find where the charity is. It doesn't have like a big sign or anything like that. And I never found it. It took me a while to find it, my first play. So it's super useful. Now that we know where this is, you can, of course, request a blessing, but we already did. And you can see that if you get him to trust you a lot, he can give you +1 willpower, which is amazing, but we're not there yet. So now that we know where the charity is, I'm going to push right on the directional pad, and I'm going to go to the top quest here, Charity in Need. You see all these quests we're getting that are filled in, and now it's marked on the map where we need to go. And I'm going to run right there. But first, let's go right here to the tobaccoist. So the tobacco guy, they all sell the same stuff. And let's trade in our lottery ticket. And now we have 50 coins. And the first thing you should buy when you get 50 coins, at least in my opinion, is the map. The flashlight. You can also buy the map, which is right here. They're both unbelievably useful, but I want the flashlight. I just love having it, and I'm going to buy it. We're getting robbed. This is something that will blow your mind about this game. The thugs are in general areas, but they also walk around. You can get robbed in broad daylight with other people around, with the police around. Nobody cares about you. That's one of the main themes of this game. Most people don't care about you. So don't think the police are going to help you. Don't think the guy who you're shopping with is going to help you. Don't think this guy walking by is going to help you. No one is going to help you. So be very mindful of this and just say what's going on, but he's like, you don't have anything. He won't take your items. He just wants your cash. So we did buy the flashlight, push start, and go ahead. You can see that you don't need to equip this. All you need to do for the flashlight is push left on the directional pad, or I think it's F on the keyboard to use it. It has unlimited batteries, and it's just great so that when you're walking around trying to find stuff, you can see a little bit better. I love it. You see the lights turn on, it's getting late, and I'm going to make my way to the charity. It is this way. The most important things you do on the first day of this game, in my opinion, more important than begging, more important than dumpster diving, which we will get to, is finding the charity and starting the quest lines for Masner so we can get ourselves established and know where we are. Now, I stopped running because I ran out of stamina. Let's push start and look at this. All of my numbers look good. It is worth mentioning, though, as you look at your stats, I'm starting to get hungry. I have 70% food. I'm looking at the upper right of our book, going down that column. My health is at 100. My morale is at 75. My tiredness is at 66%. Temperature is 100. I'm 100% dry. And then below that, it is drunkenness, queasiness, sickness, how bad you have to go to the bathroom, and how bad you smell, your odor. And let's see if... Oh, I might have waited too long. Oh, no, she's open. Great. So let's talk to Sister Agnes. And she says hello, and you could say, good morning. Is this a charity? And she says, yes, a small charity. It's my first time here. I just was walking by, and here's what you can do. And we're going to do all of these things. You could first say, oh my, you look busy. And she says, I am. It's really busy. And you say, I can help. And she gives you a quest. And this is a great quest to do. Anything you can do for Sister Agnes to boost your trust with her and get more services and things is totally worth it. And you said you were a small charity. How come it's small? Because the city shut down the big one. Then you can say, oh, you've got a dog. What's its name? And she trusts you because you say, I won't tell people that you're not supposed to have a dog. And you can say, Bobby looks restless, and you can offer to walk Bobby, and she'll pay you. She gives you her dog, and we need to go walk the dog. But first, let's talk about some other things. First of all, you could say, can I just ask? And you can ask about the services and what the rules are. In general, what you need to know is what they can provide and the fact that she won't serve you if you're drunk. You can't be drunk, you have to have good manners, and you have to pay. So what could she do for you? You could take a shower. You could do a laundry, which will clean all of the clothing that you have on you. It gets dirty, especially as you dive into dumpsters, and you need to clean it or you will stink, and people won't want to talk to you. If you need to use the bathroom, you can pay her. It's the cheapest bathroom in town until you can use it for free. And then this is the best. At the bottom, can I get something? So I'm going to actually ask for something to wear. And she gives you a deluxe sweatshirt. It's random what she gives you, but every day you can either ask for food or something to wear. If you try to do it again, she's like, now, you can't, but come back. And sometimes even twice in a day if you've waited long enough. It kind of depends, but usually every day you can get either food or something for free. And the food she gives you is really good. It restores your health, and it restores a lot of food. It's very, very nice. Okay. So now, if I leave, you'll see that we have this dog with us. If I push right, all I need to do is walk the dog. How do I walk the dog? Just walk around. Just start walking around and you will get the progress. Now, we got this sweatshirt right here. This sweatshirt is insane. It has pockets, which let you carry more. It boosts our charisma, which means people like us better. It also protects against the cold better. I'm looking at the bottom center of the right panel of our inventory to see how the stats are boosted, and I'm going to wear this instead of our terrible shirt. So we've got a great free upgrade right there. That sweater would be costly. Now, we could dig through the trash, but I'm not going to do that just yet because I don't want to get dirty. I'm just going to walk around and start talking to people. So when you talk to people, you can, first of all, we're doing the quest for Father Buran, so that's the first option. So tell him, hey, there's a new church, and he says, and you could say, yeah, I liked him too, and then you get this mini game. And what you need to do is just stop just kind of like you're fishing in Stardew Valley or mini games where you have to hit the timer at the right spot. You hit that needle in the green area and you are successful, and that's 1 out of the 5 people that we need to convince to go to the church for that quest. Then here's our other options. We can talk to this guy, we can beg from him, we can sell items to him, some certain items that you find in the dumpsters that you can sell to people and make money, or you could try to steal from him, which I do not recommend, but you can if you want. And let's first talk to this guy. I always like to talk to people, and then you'll notice in the upper right, it's leveling up our speech. This is our first skill that we've really leveled up, and skills are so important for your survival in this game. The higher your speech, the more likely people are, I feel like, to talk to you, but even the higher your success rate will be with something like a conversation. You notice how once the conversation was successful, now my chance to actually successfully beg with this guy has gone up to 30%. In the square brackets, it's telling you what the chances are that this will work. So if I try to beg, he's like, no. But even if he says no, it's okay because our begging skill has gone up. And then try to talk to him again, and it actually worked. So you can, remember we were talking about willpower. We can use 2 willpower right here to automatically succeed on this. And we could say, a sob story to this guy, and it boosts our chance to beg, although it uses all 2 pips of our willpower. And our willpower is capped at 2, by the way. And now we have a 60% chance to beg, but we still failed. And we could steal with a 90% chance if you want. And if you steal, you can take something from him, like a meal voucher, and I will. And we take it, but we don't have enough time. You see how it's going to run out of time, so let's go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you. So that's a time thing, and because I was talking to you, we didn't have enough time. It will lower your morale, but 90%, as long as you don't get caught, you can do that if you want. And let's just keep talking to people, and let's tell them about the church. A lot of people will say, yeah, I already know about it, so you can't get anything, but you could still talk. Level up your speech. Leveling up your speech in your begging early game is so good for survival. It's not likely that people will give you stuff, but just keep talking, begging, and level up so that you can get a little bit of extra money. So she already knew about it. Okay, she doesn't like us at all, but that's okay. And it's dark, so you can turn on your light. Can I ask you something? And a lot of the times the cops don't want to talk to you, but sometimes they will. Is there a place to go potty? At the gas station. Okay, thank you. So the gas station is actually... let me see where I am on the map. So, we're walking the dog. You know what? Let me not stray too far. We need to return the dog. So let's just keep talking to people. And, ooh, that guy was tough, but we got him. Some people will be easy, which means you get 3 green bars, and the minigame is a little bit easier. Some people are medium, 2 green bars. It's a little harder, but we got him. Let's talk to him. Let's beg. He just gave us 44 coins. That is amazing. You can ask for more, but we don't have insolence, so you just have to say thank you. Insolence, that's a perk. She doesn't want to talk. Check the dog walking. You can see we're 0 out of 3. There we go. 1 out of 3 progress. So just keep walking around. Talk to people. Hey, did you know about the church? All right, cool. 3 out of 5. Talk. And you can listen to their conversations, by the way. It's usually random. However, sometimes when you talk to people, they will tell you, like, they have something free, like a piece of furniture, and they'll tell you where to go find it. So pay attention for those kinds of dialogue options. Otherwise, it's just kind of generic stuff. There we go. And all of this trash is unfortunately stealing. You can raise your lockpicking and try to pick those locks and steal if you want. It's up to you. I don't do it. And I'm not searching for trash right now anyway. There we go. 4 out of 5. Okay.
Nech mě. Nech mě. No tak ale rychle.
We did it. So we completed the quest, and let's beg, let's talk, let's go.
Nah.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not complete that so easily my first time. I have practiced the minigame timing. Oh, it's a thug. Yeah, there's always a thug right here. But just let him come up to you. We don't have any money. We have 44, but he won't steal that from you unless you have over 100. So just be like, sorry, and he'll go away. There's also some dudes in this tent if you want to talk to them. The minigame is hard. And we're at 2 out of 3 on dog walking. At least for me. And I failed it a ton. But if you keep practicing at it, you'll get it. And a lot of times, too, people don't really want to talk to you about the church. So it might take you more people and more practice to get there. But if you fail that minigame, it doesn't do anything bad. It just means you have to try somebody else. And let's talk very quickly, while we're passing time walking the dog, about digging in the trash. So we're going to go into this in more depth, but I'll show you how this works. I'm going to open this up. Right away, when you open the trash, I did not understand this at first. I completely didn't get this minigame, but here's what's going on. When you open any trash container, they vary based on their size, and there's a certain number of squares that are blacked out, and that's what you need to search through. It will always show you the center square. And in the center square, you can see there's some terrible food right here. We can take this right now. We can use willpower to reveal all of the items and then know where the shrapnels are. What are the shrapnels? The shrapnels are like sharp things, fish bones, just metal and stuff that rip your clothing, make you stink when you go through the trash, and both of those are bad. If you rip your clothing, it starts to degrade and it's less effective. If you stink, people don't want to talk to you and you need to go wash your clothing. So to avoid that, you can try to dodge the shrapnels. Now, I'm going to start using the directional pad on the controller to move around to some of these squares. And most of this is useless. This is nothing. We can't do anything with this. Now, you see how my character made a noise like, bah, and then there's this kind of caution sign? That means that there is something dangerous in there. In the upper left, it says shrapnels left. That means in this 3x3 trash can, there are 2 shrapnels or dangerous squares like Minesweeper that we don't want to touch. As your dumpster diving skill increases, you will get better at this and you will be able to reveal more. Now we are freezing, however, so I'm going to take this and run. We do not want to freeze, surprisingly. So let's see. Where am I? Okay, I'm going to track our buddy Drax and put him on the map and run to him. Okay. Remember, there's a free fire by Drax that we can use, but here's what you can do in the short term. You do not want to be freezing. You'll notice our health is going down. We're done walking the dog. Let's go back to the charity and see if she'll take the dog. If any of your stats goes to red, your health will start to go down, which is terrifying. So instead of letting this happen, I'm going to drink a bit. Now we start with some rum, and if I drink this, it will make me really, really drunk. But instead, I could drink this Lifebringer that we found. It'll warm us up by 80. It will give us energy, give us morale, and make us only partially drunk. This is an expensive drink, but we'll learn to craft this once we complete the quest with Masner. I'm going to run back to the charity and just track dog walking, and you'll see where it is. She might be closed and might not take the dog, but let's see. Also, look at Lifebringing. It restored my willpower. And let's go in here. And yeah, she's locked. Okay, that's fine. So then we do want to go, and we'll bring the dog back tomorrow. She'll be worried, but it's okay. This guy's going to shake us down. It's fine. We don't have anything. He's just going to keep trying to rob us. I want to use this shortcut, but if you have money, you have to use a different way through. We're going to start getting cold again, though. So here's our options. We can get drunk and drink a bunch of alcohol, which is not really advised. But you have to do it if it's an emergency. But the other thing you could do is look for barrels where you can burn. There's a thug over there. Look for barrels where you can burn a fire. You can see it's already almost the next day. Or you can just drink something to tide you over and then do exactly what we're doing right here, which is run back to the fire. Now, how warm am I? I'm going to start freezing again, so we got to make it. Just run right under this bridge. You could see the fire right over there. The reason we're getting more tired, or we don't have as much energy to run, is because we're getting tired and we need to sleep. Additionally, we're getting hungry. We're going to go get ourselves some food very soon. But let's go over here. And stand right with these dudes. Immediately, look at the gauge in the upper left. It says we're freezing, but you'll notice our temperature gauge is going up. The negative moodle that appeared below our character portrait in the upper left with the freezing, the thermometer icon, that has disappeared because we're warming up by the fire. The global temperature is still 45 degrees. It's still cold outside, but because we're next to the fire, we're warm. And you could just stand here and pass time. These guys don't mind. Or if they do, they don't say anything. So while we're here, we could explore the inventory and just kind of look around a little bit at what we've got. And one thing you could do is actually change the tabs. We haven't talked about this, but if you use the bumpers, you can go between your tabs and you can look at, for example, energy. And it will explain your status and how to get better. We could take a nap, or we can drink coffee, for example, to restore energy, or energy drinks. Food, well, we eat food. Morale, we could talk to people. We could drink booze. We could smoke cigarettes. We can look at adult magazines, things like that. And it tells you what the different stats are. I always call poisoning queasiness, by the way. It's poisoning is the game term. I apologize about that. I like to think of it as getting kind of... It's food poisoning, but it's like nauseous from just eating trash. The mortarboard are your skills. You could see your levels. You could see the benefits for raising them. And then the star tab are the perks that you've unlocked. These are your quests. And this is actually the crafting screen and what we can make. And what we know how to make and what we've learned how to make by picking up stuff. And then this is for the endgame election. So we're warm, and it's almost day again. We could see that here. And we might want to eat something. So some things you can actually use pretty easily out of your inventory. Like this cigarette, this recycled smoke, will restore your willpower and give you 3 morale. My recommendation is do not use this until you need to restore your willpower. Save your willpower for doing things like asking for a guaranteed bag or revealing things in the dumpster diving. Bandage to restore your health. You can craft these by using old textiles, for example. And it's starting to warm up outside and becoming day. These have not respawned yet, sadly. But I'm going to show you something. I'm going to run over here. We might have to go back. Remember, Sister Agnes gave us a quest. And the quest that she gave us was to talk to the people from the sugar, or who settled near the sugar refinery. And that is right here. They actually live in this tent over here. You could see this is the sugar refinery. Those, like, smokestacks. And here we go. Talk to Bigus and say, Sister Agnes sent me to check on you. And he says they're starving and we can't get food. And you need to tell them about dumpster diving. So you can show them how it's done but you need to have dumpster diving level 3. So just make a note of that, and once you've leveled up by dumpster diving, then you can come complete that. This is the gypsy camp right here, and if you want, you can talk to this dude in here, Langos, and you can ask him about dogs, and he says 300 for a sheepdog pup, but I don't have the money. You can also ask him about jobs, and he gives you a just a nefarious job to go basically steal scrap metal, and explains to you how to steal scrap metal and sell scrap metal to make money. You can certainly do this if you want. I don't personally do it, but you can get the quest to see what it's all about. There's also a fortune teller lady over here, and she can teach you how to make a healing salve, and you can barter with her, and this is the item that will restore your stat points, the Talisman of Recovery, but you see it's 2,000 coins. And she sells some herbs, which are useful, but you can find those in the trash. There is a crafting bench here that you can use if you'd like, but there's one at our stash anyway. And now we've kind of made some progress on those quests. I'm just going to return to the fire. It's 49 degrees. I'm just going to wait until it gets a little bit warmer and the sun comes up a bit more. Then we're going to go to Sister Agnes, turn in the dog, get some money for completing the job, and also get some free food. This has not respawned yet, no problem. So everyone, I think this is a great first episode of our complete beginner's guide for Hobo Tough Life. We're going to keep going with this day after day, talk about crafting, dumpster diving, questing, doing jobs, building our base, how to survive, how to level up, and we will get into those episodes as I progress further in the game. If you have more questions, please put those in the comments below. I'd love to help you with the game. And if you are a Hobo Tough Life expert and you'd like to correct any mistakes that I've made or share your own tips and advice in the comments, I'd appreciate that so much. Just make sure you do so in a way that's not too overwhelming or spoilery, and in the manner such as that somebody that's never played this game before can understand it and use it to help them succeed. Because I really want to make a resource for this game because it's so much fun, but I died many times starting out, and I'd like to help you avoid that so you can get in and have fun with it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.